was first introduced to Shahbaz Bhatti by my good friend, the late Group Captain Cecil Chowdhury, who at the time was the main Christian voice speaking out for the rights of religious minorities in Pakistan and against the country's notorious blasphemy laws. Cecil was a Pakistani war hero and a giant among men, but I'll always remember the pride there was in his heart when he introduced me to the young man he was mentoring and who he intended to take over his mantle as a voice for the minorities. When I first met Shahbaz in 2001, his organisation was called the Christian Liberation Front, and I remember talking through with him the efficacy of this name. He understood the importance from both a strategic and biblical viewpoint why, as a Christian, he should speak up for all persecuted religious minorities and not just for Christians. Within a year, having changed the name to the All Pakistan Minorities Alliance, Shahbaz became one of the Christian pioneers of freedom of religion or belief for all. In 2008, he was appointed the Federal Minister for Minorities Affairs. And in his first interview with the media, he said, "I, as a humble servant of Jesus Christ, will continue to serve the suffering, victimised and persecuted communities, and am ready even to sacrifice my life to defend the principles of religious freedom, human equality and the rights of minorities." That statement was to prove prophetic as he fought against injustice for the reform of the blasphemy laws and fair representation for minorities. The assassination in January 2011 of his fellow campaigner, the Muslim governor of Punjab, Salman Taseer, simply inspired Shahbaz to redouble his efforts. I remember meeting him in Washington DC in February that same year, and we talked and we prayed together. He showed me the death threats he was getting several times a day on his phone. I asked him if he was frightened of dying. He looked at me, he smiled and said, "Jesus Christ shed his blood for me that I might live. The least I can do is to give my life in service for him." Within a month, on the 2nd of March 2011, I received the news that Shahbaz Bhatti was dead, brutally killed when his official car was ambushed on the way to work. That day, Pakistan lost a hero. I lost my dear friend, and the world lost a leading voice against religious discrimination and intolerance. His faith and courage, humility and integrity will never be forgotten. And now, as 4 representatives from religious minorities prepare to be elected into the upper house of Parliament, a decade on from his assassination, his legacy of working for a vision of Pakistan in which religious minorities have a place lives on. It's now down to us to build on that legacy, to stand up and to speak out against all violations of freedom of religion or belief, in order that his death may not have been in vain.